I'm a military guy. I'm not gonna take Chef Ramsay's bullshit.
He's an ex-military officer, but he's better at commanding battles than managing hotels. Chef Ramsay encountered one of the most stubborn individuals in this episode. How stubborn exactly?
You're like a little fucking Hitler around here!
And even though the Cambridge Hotel is one of the oldest hotels featured on Hotel Hell, there's also another small detail that makes it stand out from the other ones Gordon has visited.
We are haunted.
Oh, come on.
There's a little girl who supposedly haunts the hotel.
That's right, this hotel is haunted by the ghost of a little girl. At least that's what they say. This episode has a bit of everything, including, last but not least, a heartwarming story involving Chef Ramsay and Scooter, a cook in the kitchen. This makes a great side story that we will get to in a moment.
Thank you so much. Welcome.
Can't wait.
We're going to revisit this unforgettable episode and uncover the post-Hotel Hell journey of the Cambridge. We've got the latest updates on John, Tina, and Scooter, where they are now, and what they've been up to. At the start of this eerie adventure, we make our way to Cambridge, but not the one in England. Instead, we're headed to Cambridge in the northern part of New York State, not far from the state capital, Albany. The Cambridge Hotel has been a welcoming haven for tourists for over 120 years, cementing itself as a beloved community landmark. In 2007, a significant shift occurred when the hotel was acquired by John Imhof, a former military officer and legal attorney, along with his wife, Tina, with the support of their family. The fact is, John initially saw the hotel as more of a vacation retreat for him and Tina, but when he realized it was a business, he took on a more assertive role. John keeps a close watch on all the hotel staff and forbids them from implementing any of their own ideas. In short, he is a control freak. However, John's efforts are often misdirected, causing his hotel to remain stagnant in a struggle to attract customers. To make matters worse, he's accumulated a substantial $750,000 in debt, and Tina is no longer willing to sustain the financial losses from the business. It's time to seek Gordon's help. When Ramsay arrives, the first thing he sees is a rest in peace sign with the hotel's name on it. Gordon wonders if this means the hotel is already dead.
We are haunted.
Oh, come on.
There's a little girl who supposedly haunts the hotel.
Maybe they should have called Ghostbusters instead of Gordon. The alleged ghost in question is believed to be Alice, a 4-year-old girl who was a guest at the hotel in 1913. Afterward, Gordon notices more spooky photos in the hallways, and comes across a third floor that's not accessible to guests. Could there be a paranormal connection? It's uncertain. Gordon's room is undeniably outdated, with a bright rose-themed wallpaper. It's so old that the wallpaper might be the real ghost in the Cambridge Hotel. As for the bed, Ramsay finds a useless bar hanging above the bed that almost falls down when he touches it. Feeling let down by the situation, he seeks an explanation from the owners. They confirm that they've never actually made a profit from the hotel, and depend on their family members to keep it afloat. Even their youngest daughter, who has just started college, lends a hand. Despite the challenges, John remains optimistic about resolving their issues. In the evening, when the hotel sees an influx of customers, John dedicates himself to tasks that aren't his responsibility. Seeing that, Ramsay gets a feeling that the food in the hotel restaurant is going to be a letdown too.
I can see why we got RIP on the front of the fucking reception.
It all makes sense now. The chefs themselves find the situation unsettling, especially young Scooter, who prefers working with fresh ingredients instead of reheating the dishes he prepares. Upon discovering that nearly all the dishes are served from frozen, Ramsay opts to skip straight to the star dessert, the homemade apple pie a la mode. This particular dish holds special significance, considering that the Cambridge Hotel is the birthplace of pie a la mode, first ordered by Charles Watson Townsend in the 1890s. One might expect that given its historical importance, they would at least serve a respectable apple pie with a scoop of ice cream on top. Sadly, that's not the case. Gordon examines other customers' pies and finds them far from appetizing, resembling more of shapeless candy blobs than the iconic dessert they should be. Fed up with the food, Gordon confronts executive chef Rich, who admits that many dishes are store-bought to save costs. He even confesses that he designed the menu in a way that they can cook all the dishes without him.
So you are lazy then?
I'm not lazy.
I don't know, Rich. The evidence says otherwise. Since the chef is too proud to admit he's wrong, Ramsay tries to get John to acknowledge the problem with his apple pie. But that creates another problem. John thinks he's doing the right things. Fortunately, Tina is much more reasonable, admitting that her husband is brilliant as a lawyer and military man, but sucks as a hotel owner. Still, John seems naively optimistic that the business will succeed, even with everything on the line, including their own home at risk.
He may have won lots of battles, but he's fucking definitely losing this war.
Later on, Ramsay meets with Brittany and Rich, who explain that they've made efforts to bring about changes, but find themselves bound by John's strict management style.
You're like a little fucking Hitler around here.
Before we know it, John might have his own show on the History Channel. After that much-needed scolding, Ramsay heads back to his room, though I have my doubts about him getting any shut-eye with those eerie dolls nearby. And if that weren't enough, the bed's foundation is broken. It's shaping up to be a perfect night, isn't it? The next day, Ramsay surprises the owners with a room full of unhappy past customers. Complaints range from one person finding a hair on their towel to others staying in a room with a broken lock. None of them said that they would stay at the Cambridge Hotel again. To add to their troubles, Ramsay reveals a video from the previous evening when he stepped out to retrieve some items from his car. He believed he would be locked out because the front door closed, but as it turns out, it wasn't locked. This means that anyone, potentially even a thief, or worse, could have gained access to the hotel and potentially taken keys to all the rooms. It's certainly a concerning situation for this hotel. Once the guests depart, Gordon discloses to the owners that there are several registered sex offenders living in close proximity to the Cambridge. They were fortunate that their hotel went unnoticed at night, but this doesn't excuse their negligence. Especially considering John's military background, one might have expected better security measures.
Sell the place, because you're not fit to run it. Sell it, because this is madness.
Ramsay goes to check out more of the hotel, venturing to the haunted third floor. He finds a creepy mannequin peering through a window. To fix the Cambridge, Gordon knows he has to empower the staff to make their own decisions, irrespective of what John thinks. After Gordon motivates her to take the reins, Brittany organizes a ladies' night. The best part is that she didn't ask John's permission, but rather told him what she was doing. Rich also assists with that event, taking over the kitchen and using fresh ingredients this time instead of frozen. While cooking, Scooter, the prep cook, reveals that he underwent 2 heart and back surgeries in his life. Cooking is one of the few professions he can devote himself to. Gordon learns that Scooter is currently studying to be a chef at a nearby culinary school, with aspirations of opening his own bakery as a pastry chef one day. In the evening, the hotel fills up with women of all ages. As Brittany and Tina work diligently to serve everyone, John's actions prove to be more of a hindrance than a help. In response, Gordon leads him up to the 3rd floor, offering him a glimpse of what the hotel's future may hold if he continues to manage it in the same manner. I think he's so proud that he pretends to be comfortable. Ramsay quickly closes and locks the door to the room with John inside. One night with the mannequin. Who will survive? Meanwhile, back at the party, Gordon meets the owner's eldest daughter, Shay, and motivates her to talk to her father. At first, John says he's just waiting to return downstairs. However, Shay mentions that the hotel can run just fine without him, which finally makes him realize that he can take a step back and have a different role in the business. At the end of a successful ladies' night, Brittany reports that they made $1,400 in just 2 hours. Now that's how you run a business. John, on his end, commits to changing his ways and placing more trust in his staff.
I can't tell you how good it is to hear that, because you're a fucking tough nut to crack.
A tough nut indeed. With that out of the way, Gordon's team can remodel the hotel. First thing he changes, a locked front door for proper security. As for Gordon's room, they decided not to remove the rather unattractive wallpaper because, according to Gordon, despite its lack of appeal, it's quite expensive wallpaper. Instead, they opted to minimize its visual impact by adding drapes behind the bed and some additional wall decor to conceal it as much as possible. The room now exudes a cozy and contemporary ambience. Every piece of furniture, from the sofas to the beds, received a much-needed makeover. The icing on the cake? The Cambridge received a generous donation of $75,000 worth of new linens and towels. The owners now have a solid incentive to make the business thrive. Downstairs, Ramsay's team remodeled the dining room into the a la mode room, where guests enjoy the Cambridge Hotel's brand new apple pie, based on Gordon's own recipe. Moved by the changes, Scooter begins to cry and gets a hug from Gordon. You can tell how much he admires him and how he wants to work in a nice place. The redesigned Cambridge Hotel begins to welcome guests who love the new rooms and food, with the pie a la mode the biggest attraction. Meanwhile, John keeps his promise to stay on the sidelines, devoting more time with his family. Gordon considers his job at the Cambridge to be complete, with the exception of a few surprises.
No longer RIP
Okay.
of the Cambridge. It has a bright future. Long live the Cambridge, right?
The Cambridge Hotel is not dead, it lives. Following that, Ramsay delivers an unexpected piece of good news to Scooter. He'll be covering the expenses for his upcoming years in college. Chef Ramsay's only request is to receive a loaf of bread from Scooter's bakery when it opens.
And keep that dream alive one day of owning your bakery.
This heartwarming gesture brings tears to Scooter's eyes and ignites a renewed determination within him to work even harder towards pursuing his passion and realizing his dreams. And with that final note ends the Cambridge Hotel episode. But it certainly wasn't the end of their story. Or was it? What happened to the Cambridge Hotel after Hotel Hell? Let's check out some hotel reviews to find out how the Cambridge did after Ramsay's visit. This person left an extensive review of the Cambridge restaurant in February 2012, shortly after Gordon's visit. Overall, he had an average experience. Some dishes were delicious, while others were meh. But as far as the pie is concerned, everything indicates that it continued to be their signature dish. Business increased after Gordon's visit, but it wasn't enough for the Imhofs to pay off their debts. Unfortunately, the bank put the hotel into foreclosure to be auctioned off not long after the episode was filmed, but before it even aired. It has been a pleasure getting to know the wonderful people in our community and the relationships that have been bonded, and the memories will last forever. Thank you for your business and your understanding in these difficult times. That's what they said to the Times-Union newspaper just 2 months before the episode's original airing. After that, John resumed his military career at the Military Commission's office in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. John said the following in an interview with a local newspaper not long after the hotel went into foreclosure. "I'm not running away, but rather accepted a job I felt was important for my country. I know many folks will think Tina and I are leaving because of the failure of the hotel, but the opposite is true." Imhof shared that he and Tina are really enjoying their time in Cuba. Tina, who works at a school there, particularly enjoys the warmer weather compared to winters in upstate New York. The Cambridge Hotel was closed until 2015, when it reopened as an assisted living home. This WAMC article reveals that the ICC Management and Consulting Group, an Albany corporation, purchased the hotel for $375,000 in November 2013. After auctioning off most of its decor and antiques, they revived it as the Cambridge Assisted Living. The place continues to operate smoothly, welcoming many elderly and disabled adults to live happily. Finally, we wrap up with the most important question of all. What happened to Scooter, the chef with the lofty ambition of opening his own bakery one day? Scooter, whose real name is Donald, graduated in 2014 from a local community college, thanks to Gordon's help. After that, he worked for a while as a line cook at D-Line Pub and Crazy Cow Restaurant. According to his LinkedIn page, he works as a cook at Healthy Living Market and Cafe in Saratoga Springs. Even though he doesn't have his bakery yet, he met the love of his life and is now a family man. How happy it makes me to see Scooter happy. No doubt, the day will come when Scooter gives Chef Ramsay that loaf of bread.